Welcome. I'm the Parliament Raven. Welcome. Pull up a seat, pour yourself a cup of tea. My name's Jason Rodriguez, and I'm the Parliament Raven. Every song is a sermon, every lyric is a line of meditation, and every playlist is a reflection of our inner world. What message are you feeding your soul? That's the question I came up with for today's episode. The soundtrack of our soul, how music can shape our journey. I know I've talked about the things you've listened to and the impact and implications of how that can either send you forward or bring you down or lift you up. And today we're going to really talk about music. And if you listen to what I just said, every lyric is a line of meditation. If you look at the last episode, meditation is important, right? So how does music become meditation? Oh, see, that's the cool thing about this episode. We're going to look about how lyrics and stuff get into our brains, right? All right, I have a lot of notes. I'm going to be looking down a lot. All right, so repetition is meditation. And the world is preaching to us through the music we listen to, whether it be Taylor Swift, worship music like Aaron Brown, or video game music like that from the Arcane. Right? Meditation just isn't silence. It's what we focus, what we put our mind to. And music embeds itself even deeper with sound waves, chord progressions, rise and fall, different pentameter beats, even the frequency of the music itself. Right? Your favorite song is usually a narration from your story. I've talked about this with plenty of people that if you were to create a soundtrack for your life, what would that be? What would those 10 to 20 songs be? And then what would be the theme song of that soundtrack? And many people already have something like that on Spotify or on Apple Music or some sort of Pandora, I guess. No, Pandora doesn't allow you to do that. Either way, right, you have a soundtrack, and that soundtrack changes based on the part of journey you are in your life, right? So it's important to clarify what you're listening to. So how are we curating what we listen to? So I have some lyrics here. Even when I don't see you, you're working, you never stop. You never stop working. You're the way maker, right? So that's definitely a Christian lyric. Versus I'm just a sucker for pain, right? That's from Imagine Dragons. Are we normalizing that or feeding that idea that we're suffering, or are we feeding the point in our lives where we know that there is a way, that there is a path, that there is growth, right? Movie soundtracks, just like your own personal soundtracks, highlights the emotional context of your life. I remember definitely a part in my life where and I've talked about this in past episodes, where I walked away from the church. I was feeling pretty low, and I definitely got really into the Gothic scenes, who were loving and affectionate people. Invited me in, got into their music, and some of that music really kind of undergirded the negative emotions I had going on in my life, the anger and frustrations I was feeling with my spiritual walk, the things going on in my home, the listlessness of feeling of trying to figure out what to do in college is very difficult for a neurodivergent like me. And was very hard to find a plan or a path. It didn't just come to me. And so the soundtrack of my life really reflected that at that time. And sometimes I try to go back and listen to the music from that time in my life, and I just don't relate to it anymore. Isn't that weird? You start to relate to music that you think defines your life at that moment. I think even if I try to listen to stuff from even 10 years ago, it's really hard to find that connection or feeling, because the evolution of our journey where we're at is not the same where it was back then. So it's very important how we curate the music that we listen to in our lives, as to push us forward or to undergird us emotionally in that whole path of being whole and complete in shalom. I put it here, the big idea is like our emotions are like sponges. Music soaks them in color, light and dark, and can either lift us up or bury us deep in despair. For instance, even David struggled with this. I'm looking down here at Psalms 42:11. Why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you in turmoil with me? And then he changes the narrative. Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God. But what if he had turned that around and said, man, this sucks. The world is lame, right? And this person and this person and this person are the ones to blame. He could have said something like that, because right now, the Psalms is a book of musical pieces and poetry. And that's what's influencing. He's writing down the emotional influences. And if he just stood there, stayed there, that it would just undergird him into this darker path. And we see that in the later books, in like Proverbs, or no, Lamentations, not Proverbs. Proverbs is wisdom text. Lamentations, where he's lamenting things. And you can tell that Solomon, the son of David, is really just in this negative mindset, and he's trying to pull himself out as he goes back and forth, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Studies confirm music influences our emotional state. Dark music can intensify depression or isolation. Joyful worship can rewrite our brain towards hope. And there are studies to prove this, right? When you have verses like, you are my champion, giants fall when you stand undefeated next to me, stuff like that from Bethel, or versus secular lyrics that are just like, all my friends are heathen, take it slow. Hello to the other side, right? That's that negative. Hello to the other side is a concept of death. And a heathenistic life is a life of negative connotation to that. And you should question if that's a life, right? Because too much excess leaves us feeling even more empty, and music that kind of exemplifies that doesn't feel. There's definitely a spot in one's very spirit where you feel that hole can either be filled with certain types of music, and sometimes that hole is filled with something that has no value, that doesn't feed it or fill it. It just fills it with like sludgy water rather than clean water. That's a good way of putting that, right? So you have a choice of what kind of water you're putting into that hole. And I think I use water because of the physics behind that. We talked about this in the string theory episode, that the vibrations of music or our very words can affect water. We're 70 to 80% water. So it really does change the alignment of our state of being physically. Right? So this is mind, body, and spirit. This is things that's going to impact the mind, the body, and the spirit. The music you listen to, the playlist of your life that you're putting together. I have a good idea here that I'm going to share. Create a mood rescue playlist with uplifting songs, things that are going to push you forward. I definitely have a list of music, of secular music, that lifts me up too. It might start low. I like lyrics from Linkin Park, Heavy is the Crown, right? But then it'll go that talking about, I am a challenge breaker, I'm more than a conqueror, I'm the things that people say they're not going to stop me yet, right? These are lyrics and songs that I listen to push me forward, whether it be in the gym, sometimes whether it be I'm creating here in front of the camera or the computer, editing. I listen to things that are uplifting. Yeah. Do I listen to a lot of worship music? Absolutely. Do I listen to a lot of classical music? You better believe it. Do I listen to a lot of other musics? Sure. I listen to country. I listen to rock. I listen to classical. I listen to folk. I listen to Irish. Man, if you saw the eclecticness of my music collection, you would be like, is this guy schizophrenic? No, I'm not. There's different songs and different lyrics that really push me to grow. And as I've gotten older, I've removed the less depressing ones. All right. I definitely don't listen to Jagged Little Pill. Early 90s, definitely listen to Jagged Little Pill. Whether, I want you to know. Right? So how can we get music to help us, right? We know that 432 hertz is good for us. We know that Handel and some other classical music guys wrote songs to heal, and there is evidence that does that. So definitely you should look to listen to things that are going to be good for you, lyrically or not. Taylor Swift is really popular, but if you look at her lyrics, they're horrible. They're about breaking up. They're about witchcraft. They're about getting revenge. She used to be her very early stuff was very positive, and though her stuff still sounds poppy, I don't know if I could listen to her. Actually, I don't listen to her unless it's like really old stuff. So curating that concept definitely helps, right? Here's some suggestions, right? Use instrumental worship or instrumental music to calm oneself, to set a mood. Even dance music, upbeat dance music would be great. I also like listening to classic Puerto Rican salsa with no lyrics, where I just have the beats coming with the trumpets and the guitars, and it's great. It's awesome. It's amazing. You can learn things to soak in that are positive, right? Slower beats, but positive words, or upper beat positive words. And yes, I know sometimes you really do want to feel bad. You could definitely, sometimes misery loves company, and sometimes music is the company, right? And so my suggestion for that kind of playlist is to start off there and like King David, start off negative and move to the positive aspects, right? So some more suggestions: use lo-fi music to reduce stress, upbeat tracks of joy, soaking music. We said that. To add that, journal down, take a look at your lyrics, and find rhythms for the rhythm of your life. And look, for my fellow believers out there, not all music that is not Christian is bad. There's some great songs out there. There's some great lyrics out there. But curate, right? Don't just listen. I don't think many people listen to radio stations, but if you do, they're curating. They're putting what they want in your mind rather than you put what you want in your mind. And we're looking to be whole, complete, positive influences, salt, right? So that's what your music list should look like. That's my recommendation. That's what I do. So the challenge, reflect on your playlists, look at the lyrics, and curate some definite multiple playlists. Workout, mood recovery. Man, I should have did a recovery episode on mood recovery. Encouraging, and things that challenge you. There's definitely lyrics out there that challenges us, that has a call to a challenge to overcome, and it's in the lyrics. And when you hear a song that pulls you forward, that says, I can get there, you should definitely have a list of those. That's the challenge, right? Curate, look at your lyrics, make those playlists. All right. I think that's it. Pour yourself another cup of tea. I'm going to enjoy mine. And until next time, I'm the Parliament Raven. Like, subscribe, leave a good comment. Thanks for visiting the Parliament. If you want to know about Gravitas Coaching, please visit gravitas.co. It's also where we host the Parliament. Join the conversation on Facebook at the Parliament Raven Podcast. Last but not least, the intro and outro music credits. Intro music by Russ Budgeon.
And outro music by Sarnav Aravistov.